Greetings from Costa Rica. Vicki and Paul have been living in Costa Rica now for how many months?
4 and a little bit.
4 and a little bit. They're down here exploring Costa Rica as their retirement destination. We're going to be talking to them today about their experience. Thanks very much for coming and joining me on my channel.
Thank you for having us.
We've been quite a long time viewers of your channel from the US, and since we got here, and there was a lot of helpful content that saved us a lot of misery.
They're volunteering to help out and pay it forward today. I really appreciate it. Tell us about your journey so far in Costa Rica, where you've been and what you've been up to.
Started our journey in mid-September. We arrived in Playa Langosta, and we stayed in Langosta for 1 month. And from Langosta, we went to Nosara, and we stayed there for 3 months. And now we're here in Funchal, thanks to you and all the information you provided. And
absolutely. So tell us, comparing those towns. I haven't been down to Nosara in a long time. How are you feeling about the different locations you've seen so far?
Yeah, they're all different. Langosta, Tamarindo for us was a great landing place to really take the sting out of the culture shock. You know, we were there in the rainy season and it was still quite busy, and we were sure we didn't want to be there when it did get really busy. But we did like it. We did enjoy it more than maybe we had thought it was going to be more like Cancun or something, and it wasn't. It was still very pleasant.
Yeah. You've been to Cancun as well? And
Tulum and Cancun we've been to.
Okay. You still wouldn't feel like Tamarindo's not Cancun. Yeah, it's amazing. You know, people visiting Costa Rica, they'll hear me say, oh, Tamarindo is the big city and really sort of like the tourism hub. There are probably only 3,000 or 5,000 people there, even when the hotels are full.
I mean, if you're young and want more, shall we say, like, not party, but, you know,
energy.
More energy, more nightlife, more, you know, kind of hanging out later at night.
Yep.
Almost burning the candle at both ends, waking up early to surf, and then,
that's fun.
You know, then you might want to check out Tamarindo. That's not really we're early to rise, very early to bed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but Tamarindo has a lot to offer people.
Yep.
There are tons of services and, you know, all of that stuff, which is great.
Yep. And so you spent only a short time, 4 weeks in Langosta, and then you headed down to Nosara.
We did.
Tell us about Nosara.
Okay, so I had more difficulty in Nosara, mainly because of the driving.
The road in Nosara right now is paved,
yeah,
correct?
so
in town.
So what we semi-appreciated, but really appreciated once we got there, is what is described as Nosara is like 4 little towns spread out over quite a big area. Full perception of the beach of Nosara is actually Guiones, and that's where most of the surfing takes place.
Yep.
And then before you get to Guiones, there's Garza, and then just to the north of Guiones, there's Palada, and then back inland a couple of miles is the actual town of Nosara, which is much more of a Tico Costa Rican town.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a really important thing to grasp. You might be really disappointed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounded like your rental down there was not in Guiones or Pelada.
No. It was in Nosara.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was we had a vehicle, so that was fine, but it was still 10 minutes and change down to Guiones to surf, and that was on pretty wild roads.
Driving 10 minutes.
Yeah,
not
driving.
walk.
Yeah, there was no walkability from the house we were at. You could walk the dog, but you're really out and back. There were no loops to walk around, no services to walk to or anything like that.
But the nice thing about that area is that you can call a tuk-tuk.
Yeah.
They're
Tuk-tuks in
Ah,
Nosara, which
okay.
is kind of a
lots
local
of
thing.
tuk-tuks,
Yeah.
which is very local and specific to that particular
Yeah.
region.
I can't imagine being on one of those things in a dirt road, though.
They're amazing, the drivers. But
Yeah.
they
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're like, it's crazy. I mean, they look terrible. I mean, the road, even the paved road through Nosara is terrifying. It's kind of like an extreme sport watching and traveling on the road.
Really?
It's like tight hairpins, and you go around the bend and there'll be a semi coming the other way, completely occupying the road. And
That's
people
true.
going around it on motos, and it's wild, it's fun. I mean, it's good, but you just have to be totally paying attention the whole time.
And please, if you go there, don't speed.
Yeah, no, you have to. I think the traffic situation has gone a little crazy. There's a lot of people there in general.
Yeah.
The Nosara area is going nuts.
Yeah.
Lots of
Going
construction,
Massive,
all
yeah.
kinds of stuff happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which then brings us, you did a few months down there.
Yes.
Now you're in Playa Junquial here.
Yes.
Yeah.
How are you feeling in town?
I love it.
She loves it. I went through the same thing. We've been here 2 and a bit weeks now, and definitely for a week or so, I felt like, oh, you know, we got plugged into Nosara. We knew where everything was. I knew where to go, where to surf, when, blah blah. Here it was like adjusting again and relearning, but starting to feel it here now too.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part about you know, not having a place that is called your own, basically. And yeah, just kind of getting reacclimated in a different area once you've made friends.
Yeah, you stay in somewhere for a few weeks, and at first you know absolutely no one, and then over the course of a few weeks there, you start to get plugged in, and you start to recognize people. They start to talk to you. You may meet people surfing or whatever, and you feel a little bit more. At least you belong a little bit, and then you go somewhere else and bang, you start all over again, and it's like,
yeah, it's kind of that culture shock and adjustment, and I definitely hear what you're saying. You know, some people come to Costa Rica and try it out, and they think they don't like Costa Rica, but what they don't like is living out of a suitcase.
Yeah.
They don't like not having their bearings. They don't like feeling comfortable in a place.
you have to have some patience to just accept that it's going to feel a bit shitty for a few days maybe, and then gradually you start to, oh well, at least I know that restaurant's cool, and they said hello to me, met were immediately friendly to us and talking to us, but quicker probably than in either of the other two places.
Okay.
The residents of where we're staying.
And even in the market yesterday, we asked about a certain kind of a vegetable, and the couple immediately started talking to us. And
No, it's the small town vibe, and I think people who haven't lived in this small of a community don't get what it's like to be, you know, have all these conversations with people and build relationships that way.
The people have been very well.
Yeah.
Very quick.
You see in the tourism hubs here, it's, you know, people are there for business. You don't see quite as much the utterly casual sort of like, you know, social environment. You meet a lot more Costa Ricans, for example, that, you know, they're in Nosara or one of the beaches, or they're in Tamarindo. That's their job. They're doing something. It's not like here where, you know, pretty much everyone is idling for sure. Tell us about the different rentals in looking at your options in Nosara, in Langosta, in Junquial. How do the rates compare? And, you know, what, if you're willing to share a little bit, what should expats expect to pay for something that's comfortable a little bit longer term?
there is a lot to rent and a lot on offer in the Tamarindo area. So finding a place, whether it's Airbnb or VRBO or whatever website somebody uses, that shouldn't be a problem.
Yep.
Nosara is a totally different story.
Really?
Yes, it's extremely difficult to find rentals. And when you find a rental, if it's comfortable or luxurious in any way, it's exorbitantly expensive.
Oh, okay. About how much a month for
Well, we got extremely lucky and we had a little villa inside a property that had 4 little villas. And the rent was quite reasonable.
It was
right?
2,000 and something a month.
A month.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was
A 1-bedroom villa.
No, it was
Or
2.
2
Okay.
bedroom, but it was really small. It was it wasn't. You wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah.
It was it's
And
a
that's
vacation
10 minutes
property.
driving from the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, down in Quiones, I think it's hundreds a night
Yeah.
for a whole house.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, the properties are now multi-million-dollar properties down there. Lots.
yeah.
Yeah.
Big thing.
So you're saying I chose the absolute wrong spot for my real estate career. Nosara is 45 minutes to the south of us. Tamarindo just 30 to the north of us. Both are booming, hubs. And I've set up my office right here in Junquial.
But you're just getting ahead of the curve.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
we're ahead of the curve here, and frankly, it's nice to be in a quiet town. Yeah.
You chose correctly.
Yeah.
You chose correctly.
It's absolutely a great place. I think that you're doing an amazing job, and one of the points for people watching out there, they're patiently exploring locations for possible investment. They're not on any specific timeline to purchase. They're here and, like you've said, taking enough time in each location that you can actually give it a test run. I think a lot of people coming to Costa Rica would spend 2 days in a city, 2 days, 2 days, 2 days. And that can be sort of your initial, I think, exploration and, okay, maybe I'm gonna come back here. But if you wanna see what life is like, if you wanna really sort of get the feel of the community, you need a big chunk of time, for sure.
At least a month.
Yeah,
At least.
for sure.
If you can, it's surprising how your impressions change. You have your first day impression, then your 3 or 4 days impression, and then a couple of weeks in, and it kind of, at first it's like, wow, this is cool, and then you feel a little bit, maybe expect to feel a little deflated for a little while, and then gradually you start to, oh yeah, we found where this is and that is.
Absolutely.
You know a few people, and it starts, realistically, it's not like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the whole process of culture shock that we've talked about on my channel, and people just feel out of sorts. You really don't feel comfortable in a new place until you start to get your bearings and you meet a few friendly people at the pool and you know who's who. Yeah, it's very great advice for people considering exploring Costa Rica. I don't know if you have any other tidbits. What sorts of things are you glad you brought along with you on the trip?
Sunscreen and bug repellent.
And technology.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Absolutely. Technology meaning...
We have our laptops, Kindles. We have another small computer that we connect to the TV in each of the places we stayed, and then we use a VPN to get whatever we want.
Yeah.
Super handy versus relying on watching local cable TV, which would be a complete struggle for me. And
Yeah, absolutely. Any electronic device that you think you might want or use, or get it and bring it with you.
Yeah.
Because A, it might be hard to find here, B, exorbitantly expensive.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah.
And so is sunscreen and repellent. You find that a tube of decent sunscreen here can be $20 or $30, even in a normal supermarket if you're looking for good stuff. So yeah, I think stocking those, chemicals that help you get through the day. Speaking of which, the sun's been shifting around us here a little bit, but definitely those devices help you, especially when you're managing in a new town. It's really nice to go home. You have your TV, you can sit into your routine and be comfortable a little bit that way.
Yeah, you can watch, in our case, a lot of British TV fairly easily, or American shows.
I was gonna say, you're not finding any of that here.
that eases the, it's like, okay, you can just be like something familiar after a day with all new.
Totally. No, I remember specifically in Peace Corps, I had like 4 DVDs that I brought with me, or actually I originally didn't have a computer, but when I had my laptop, I would end almost every day with one of those movies because it was sort of like my pacifier. Like, okay, I'd leave the room and have to go out into the wild world, but I could come back and sort of have my movie time as like, okay, I'm still in control, I still understand things, but it's, the adjusting process isn't easy, going through it patiently and having as much time as you guys do.
Planning how you're going to have a phone work ahead of time makes it so much easier. Like we set up Google Voice numbers, and we used Google Fi, which basically works anywhere with the SIM. So it worked in the States, and it worked as soon as we got off the plane here.
Brilliant.
And then once you're here, you can get a local SIM really inexpensively. Go to the Colby offices. And super helpful. Helps if one of you can speak Spanish, but it was really inexpensive, and now we have local plans. Also, get WhatsApp figured out.
WhatsApp.
Especially Americans who don't really use WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Get plugged into WhatsApp and get your friends and family on WhatsApp.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're communicating on it.
Yeah, if your parents or whatever might not find it as easy to get set up as you, and you're trying to call them on WhatsApp, but you forgot to help them get set up with that WhatsApp before you left, and then all the local talking and texting takes place on WhatsApp, not on the phone.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Thanks very much for coming and joining me on my channel.